Welcome back to the Football Terrace. This is the packed lunch. We're talking Chelsea. We're talking Donny van der Beek's, I want to say behaviour, but he's kind of outburst last night of frustration after not coming onto the pitch. We're also going to take a look at the situation at Tottenham. They have started to seek replacements and a potential alternatives for Nuno, who, of course, is under massive pressure right now at Tottenham Football Club. We want to hear your views. We want to hear your opinions. Get your comments or questions in as well. We may even open the lines a little bit later if you want to come on and have your say. What are the comments saying first and foremost here? You chatting to me or are you still chatting to each other? I was actually pretty much on time today as well, which is a proper rarity for me. That doesn't happen too often. I'm nearly always late when it comes to coming onto streams. Who here says Donny Van der Beek throwing chewing gum on the floor, said enough is enough, you rubbish manager. I mean, I'm going to touch on that a little bit later on in the show as well. What do you all want to speak? Any other subjects you all want to talk about while we're live? Let me know. And of course, we can amend the agenda somewhat as well. But it's nice to get your interactions. I know you all like talking to each other as well, but I do like to hear from you. What else are you saying here? Tuchel out already. Ha, you beat us 1-1 a few weeks ago. Beat us 1-1 a few weeks ago and won the league. Terry, do you think Nuno should get sacked? We're going to go into all of that this afternoon. Make sure that like button has been smashed. Make sure that you subscribe to the Football Terrace and turned on the bell notification. The first subject matter I really want to talk about, we are going to get into Chelsea and Tottenham a little bit later. I want to speak Donny van der Beek and his outburst, his behaviour, his attitude last night, and give you my thoughts and my feelings on it. Let's do this. Donny van der Beek's frustrated. Donny van der Beek wants to be on that field of play. Donny van der Beek wants to be Fred yesterday. Maybe not playing left back, but he wants to be involved in the goal. He wants to be Lingard yesterday, getting the assist for the goal. Ronaldo yesterday, winning. I love the attitude we saw from Donny van der Beek. Because actually, everybody's over-analysing it. Oh, does it mean he hates the manager? Is the manager going to go? We'll get onto Ollie a little bit later tonight on the Bet Victor show, 6 p.m. Great lineup tonight. Make sure you're tuning in. But it's a case for me of he was celebrating with the team when we scored. Massive celebrations. Like the joy on his face was huge. So he's dedicated to the club. He's dedicated to his teammates. He wants to win. I want to see that attitude from a player when they don't come on the pitch. I want to see it. I want to see them show us that they care. That's how I am at work. There are times where I didn't get promotions or sometimes I didn't even win Performer of the Week in sales jobs. I'd have to be calmed down in a corner. I'd get angry about it because I wanted the recognition. But what it did, it made me go away and work harder. That's all I'm asking for from Donny here. Go away from this situation and work harder. Work much harder. Work much harder and get that done. Now, from my point of view, I sort of feel like I feel like we're kind of like in this situation where everything's very binary. He's disappointed. That means he hates Ollie, which means he's going to want to leave, and the world's coming to an end. I think there's elements of truth in that. I look at the way Man United are playing isn't great, but I want to see my players at times frustrated like that. I remember a year or two ago, you had Mane and Salah kicking off with each other. Good. There should be that competitiveness. There should be that frustration amongst professionals, people trying to get to the top. There needs to be that. You see, every now and then you'll see a story or come out about a couple of players getting into a fight on a training ground. When it's certain character, I remember when Balotelli got into a few rows at City's training ground. People are like, oh, does this prove he's a bad egg? And then you hear the professionals speak. And the professionals would say, no, not at all. This happens all the time. When we hear people say, oh, a player playing with an injury, bad management. No, this happens all the time since day dot. It's still happening now. That's where you have to listen to the experts or the professionals and the ex-pros who have been there that are like, that's pretty normal, really. I want to see that from Donny. He may still not get the opportunity from it, but I want to see that he cares. I always remember a very, I say famous quote. Man United scored a winning goal. It was in the derby. This was the game it was. Man United scored the winning goal in the 4-3 derby, Michael Owen against City, 2009. And Gary Neville run down to the City fans and started celebrating and like getting in their faces. I think he got a ban for it, minimum of fine, but I think he got a ban as well. And the reason they said he had no reason to be there because we'd already used all 3 subs, so he wasn't warming up. He tried to say he was warming up. And I remember Harry Redknapp saying that he shouldn't be punished. That's what you should want to see from your players, is a passion. He said he turned around once on the bench and because he made all 3 subs. And I think it was David Bentley, had pretty much fallen asleep. Wasn't watching the game, didn't care. So I want the complete opposite. I want my players celebrating when we score, angry when they're not coming on, frustrated when they're being bought off, because it shows they want to win, they want to deliver. It's then down to Ollie to have the man management skills to keep them on side. Because me being angry with my boss for not letting me do something or not rewarding me with something or not giving me the promotion doesn't mean I'm going to throw my toys out the pram and not perform. It's how they manage me. It's a give and take situation. So for me, it's not toxic. There isn't a problem with what Donny did at all. Spot on. I also don't think he threw the chewing gum, by the way, at the coach. I think he just threw it on the floor. Getting people, he threw his chewing gum at Ollie, you know. It's near a Mike Phelan. And he wouldn't do that to Mickey Phelan because Mickey Phelan would nut him, bro. Mickey Phelan would knock him out. So he wouldn't do that. But yeah, look, it's not a toxic thing. It's what should be happening. It's what should be going on. Smash the like and share button. Next up, we're talking Chelsea and the big problem they currently have at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea's big problem. Is it Lukaku not performing in big games? Is it the fact they've lost 2 back-to-back games on the bounce 1-0? Is it the fact that in 180 minutes they've been 1 shot on target? Is it the fact that they do look a little bit toothless without Pulisic and Mason Mount? Is it because Kai Havertz hasn't yet found complete and utter consistency? No. None of these things are true, are the problem. They're just human. And they've had a little bad run. I cannot believe some of the tweets and some of the takes I've seen from Chelsea fans. Like, legitimately cannot believe it. Cannot believe what I have seen. Hasn't developed the front line. Players are regressing under him. Some as far to say, I've had enough. I don't care if we won the Champions League. We're not going to win the Premier League playing this way. Slow down. There's a debate I was in last night. I want to play a bit of it to you. And it's very, very, very relevant indeed to this and why Chelsea fans need to remain very, very calm. But I want to play this clip from last night, something that Igal said on the football terrace. And I'm going to relay into you why it's very, very important for Chelsea fans to slow down as it stands right now.
The next year, somehow everyone's saying they're better than everybody else because they finish higher up the table. Your position in the league table, once the season's over, is done. We keep going back to the 8th. We finish 8th. That's over with.
No, that's not true. 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 That is not. No, hang on a minute. It isn't true.
Wait. Everybody else got to speak. Harry, I said one word. You cut me off.
Go on. Why is it true, Igal?
This is why. Because the league position where you finish does not dictate how you're going to do the next season.
Yes.
You can have a completely different team.
Yes.
You can have a completely different squad, and you can have a completely different trajectory. Yes. Especially since we don't have Europe this season.
Yes.
West Ham have Europe. Leicester have Europe. You're going to see them drop off.
So what Igal's saying there in its essence, that there is truth to it. You can't 100% say because you were 8th last year, because you were Champions League winners last year, it means you're going to do the same the following season. So, of course, that means Thomas Tuchel is not above criticism. It doesn't mean that Thomas Tuchel is going to get every single thing that he does right. However, you have to take somebody's past into your assessment of how they're going to do moving forward. It's how bookmakers decide their odds. It's why Tottenham are not seen as joint favourites for the Premier League against Pep Guardiola's Man City because of what they did last season, what they've done the season before that, because of the quality of their squad, because of who the two managers are. If right now Nuno took over at Man City and Pep Guardiola went to Tottenham, you would see not a switch in who the favourites are, but you'd see a shrinking in the odds. You'd see a change in what the consensus thought the possibility of those things happening were. So when it comes to Manchester City, and I'm bringing this back round for a reason. Sorry, when it comes to Chelsea, I'm bringing this back round for a reason. You've had a couple of bad games, but Thomas Tuchel has the pedigree, both domestically and in Europe, to show you that he can deliver, to show you that he can get through adversity, to show you that he can handle bad moments, big personalities. It may only be a handful of Chelsea fans that are throwing their toys out the pram, but these things can catch on pretty quickly, especially if there's an average result against Southampton and then maybe the first game back after the... Because Chelsea, this is what's interesting as well. Go back to another Igal point. Igal says Man United have no chance in the league because we're not playing well. We've got a hard run coming up. Liverpool could be out of the title. He said Liverpool could be out of the title race because Chelsea's run's easier than theirs in the next 5 to 6 weeks. That ain't how football works. At any given moment, Chelsea might lose a couple of those games against the so-called easier teams. Does that suddenly mean Tuchel's become a bad manager, that we shouldn't look at them as favourites? No. It's a madness to me to see any Chelsea fan worth their salt angry beyond last night's game at Thomas Tuchel. Your team is actually still in development. It's still the early stages of the season. But what you have, the same as, by the way, City's team haven't been all guns blazing so far this season. But you have the managers and the squads and the club pedigree to turn it around. The difference is when you look at Arteta's and Ollie's is they haven't done anything in their time at the elite level to categorically prove, to give you faith that they're going to get it back on track for a long enough a period to maintain success and win and challenge for the major honours, which is what all of our clubs are about. We're all about winning the big boys trophies, not just looking good or competing. Substance over style every day of the week, twice, 3 times, 4 times on a Sunday. So Chelsea fans, calm down. You don't have a problem. I don't believe you have a major problem at all. It's been a couple of poor games that will sort itself out. It will absolutely sort itself out. Smash that like and share button. Up next, Nuno news. Let's see what's happening. Then we're going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say. So Tottenham Hotspur are looking already at alternatives and potential replacements for Nuno. They are considering sacking him, but there are a number of moving parts in relation to this situation. First and foremost, they have to find an adequate replacement. They have to find an individual that can come in, manage the squad, work within their club's expectations and restraints, and at the same time, keep the fans on side. I think it's a big part of what they're looking for. This is great news for Tottenham. This is great news that you're looking at it. But don't get too excited. Now, I spoke to a couple of journalists earlier on this morning about this. I've seen a few articles in the last few days. I've reached out to a few journalists. They have started to look. They have looked at the possibility of sacking Nuno. The problem is finding a replacement. There are not a lot of managers right now that want to come to Tottenham. And this is where the conundrum comes in. There's a lot at a level that Spurs fans are not going to be happy with, both in terms of stature, style, one of those things, both of those things, whatever. There are very few managers that are looked at as the next best up-and-comers or established stars in the game that want to work under Daniel Levy and your ownership right now. Either the expectations are too low, the amount of money they're being offered isn't high enough, or they don't want to work with Daniel Levy. That seems to be the consensus and the feedback that's coming from a number of sources in relation to this situation. Where it's going to become really on top, really, I don't like to use the word dangerous, but it's the only word that springs to mind as being correct in this circumstance, is where this can become a problem for Tottenham is if they keep losing and don't improve. Because then you find yourself in a situation where the position of Nuno becomes completely untenable. You're dropping further and further down the league, and the decision needs to be made. Now, Spurs have got to go out there in the marketplace and find a manager. The problem is Peretici's approach. He's a scattergun guy. He'll want to look at 5, 6, 7 targets and sound out what's going on. when you start sounding out that many people in football, by the way, football's a very small world, really, when you're in it. The ripple effects of that are going to get back to that dressing room. That's going to undermine the manager further, that already has a number of Tottenham stars who are against his style of play and not enjoying the way he is as a person. It could become a really horrible environment in the next few weeks at Tottenham. If the results persist, if the results improve and Tottenham stop looking at new managers, it's less likely to go wrong. But this is almost going to become a bit of a snowball effect in many ways. I'm very, very, very intrigued to see what happens. I do feel a bit sorry for Nuno because everyone knows I've got a soft spot for him. But I have been told today by a couple of journalists, by the way, the Done Deal show is returning to the Football Terrace very, very soon. In the space of the next couple of weeks, that will be back. Spurs are actively in the market right now, sounding out managerial replacements. They are looking at the possibility of sacking Nuno. That is going on right now. That'll be very good news to some Tottenham fans. But it's about who you can bring in to replace him. Remember, in the last year, Brendan Rodgers has said no. Conte has said no. Even Graham Potter has said no. So it's going to take either a miracle, a lesser manager, or a change in Tottenham's approach to land someone they want. So yeah, it's going to be very, very intriguing to see what goes on. Hamid here says flat track bully will start scoring soon, is what Hamid says. Well, if Lukaku is the flat track bully, they'll be fine in those lesser against those lesser teams. Hamid says Chelsea got an easy run of games coming. They'll be fine. And they're likely to, based on, football knowledge, they're very likely to be okay in those games. But as we know, football isn't that foregone conclusion that everybody makes it out to be. Legendary Villain here says, don't compare Arteta with Oli. Please, one has 2 trophies. The other one is an awful manager who is ruining this club. Look, listen. One does have a trophy, and that is very, very true. And Arsenal fans, of course, as we know, Arsenal fans do think that Arteta is going to become a great manager. Jess and Harry and Gal, Gunnar Souls have all stated that they think he's going to become a great manager, or they've sat on a panel and agreed with everybody saying that he could become a great manager. He could become one of Arsenal's greatest. So I don't think very many Man United fans believe that about Oli. But the point I made, the comparison I made wasn't about them two to each other. It was comparing them to the elite end managers that have a pedigree and a history of achieving things, meaning their bad patches don't feel as bad because they can turn it around. They can get over the line. I don't see that right now. There is not enough body of work in those other 2 managers to tell me that that is true. So that's where the comparisons come in, my dear friend, Legendary Villain. I'm going to get these links sent out now. If you want to call in for the last 10 to 12 minutes of this show, make sure that like button is being smashed, ladies and gentlemen. James here says, I'd really worry being a Chelsea fan right now. Daddy Roman will sack Tuchel by Christmas. Terry, are you trying to buy time for Oli? Is what Gavin Williams says. In what way, mate? I said that he should be sacked. I don't really get how that's buying anyone time. I'd love you to articulate what it is I've said that's made you think that, because I am a little bit confused. It's funny, right? I watched 2 match reviews. One of it on a Man United channel that were like, all of the negatives, Ollie's got to go. And another Man United channel that were like, I'm not speaking about the negatives. I just want to celebrate us winning. And I laughed because I was like, I'm like in the middle. I'm celebrating us winning and I'm talking about the negatives because there were negatives last night as well. But there we go. There we go. What's being said here? The super chat. I missed it. Here it is. Chelsea's build-up full of hesitance and it's costing. Yeah, but it hasn't done that all year. For instance, Chelsea's build-up up until they got a man sent off against Liverpool is exemplary. The way I felt you played against Palace was brilliant. The City game was a frustration. You got it wrong. Going away to... I know Juve haven't started the season well. But look at the history of English teams in Italy. It doesn't read for... It doesn't make great reading. So context needs to be applied. This is the guy that's been one of the... Chelsea have been one of the best teams in the world in the past 10 months. I don't think it's right to just write them off at this stage. I think there's so much more to come. I'd be very, very relaxed indeed if I was a Chelsea supporter. See some more of these comments here. I want to read some more of these comments out. Oh my God, Chelsea fans are fake and soft. is what Ease Basuma has said. Yeah, they definitely did. The funniest thing that Harry said yesterday. The funniest thing Harry said yesterday was Arsenal are lucky to have Arteta. I don't even know why I'm laughing. It's just the way he said it. With like, we're so lucky to have him. I'm like, maybe, bruv. Maybe that's the one. Terry Tuchel trusts players who are past it. Guys like Alonso and Aspilicueta. I think Aspi's still very good to me, but I do find it like maybe not strange. I'm kind of used to it now with social media and football fans. I was surprised at like the fallout yesterday. There seemed to be a lot of fallout. But if you want to come on and have your say, I'll give some of you a 2-minute slot. I say 2-minute slot because we only run the show for about 30 minutes, so I can't give you like a 10-minute slot because there ain't like that long left. I'm going to put the link out now if you want to phone up and have your say. I would love to hear your views and opinions on these stories that are circulating today. I'd love to get them. I'd love to hear from you right about now. But make sure the like button has been smashed. It's very important to the terrace that you hit that like and that share button for us. Let's get this stream at least past 300 likes while we're live, ladies and gentlemen. We're closing in on 1,000 live viewers, which is amazing. Just a round up before we go to your calls. We spoke about the biggest problem at Chelsea right now, and it isn't Lukaku or Kai or Ziyech. It's literally that you're human, and you've gone for a 2-game bad spell and 2 poor games over the course of 8 to 9 months of football is a nothing. You've got an elite manager who is on the cusp of greatness, both at Chelsea and in football. You have an amazing squad that is deep. A few injuries right now. You're up near the top of the league. You're one of the favourites to win the Champions League. There is no need for a single Chelsea fan to criticize the individual performances, but there is no need to overreact. And as I said, as I was saying earlier, I've been told that you can't judge Arsenal based on their past. And I say you should be judging every football team on their past. To a degree, you factor in new elements, but you have to factor in their past. Otherwise, you could never be Arteta out because you take each individual game in its own merit and forget everything that comes. If we forget everything that comes before, then you'd never want a manager sacked or, you know what? Based on only judging it by a game basis, like you can have a striker that scored like 2 goals in 12 months, but when he scores that brace in that one game, it's right, he's Lewandowski level. That makes sense. Equally, in reverse, when you're Chelsea, don't throw baby out with that proverbial bathwater. Got one of the best managers, best squads. Don't add fuel to the fire with the media and get people focusing too much on Thomas Tuchel. Top-class manager. Chelsea will turn it round. No major issues at your football club at all. The other stories we're talking about is Tottenham. They are seeking an alternative manager to Nuno. They have started searching for a replacement as it stands right now. They have started to look at that already. And we were having a look at Donny van der Beek's attitude. Was it right? Was it wrong? Do you agree with what he did yesterday in terms of his outburst? We want to hear from you on these stories or any other matters that you want to speak about. Winter Surfer's going to be on with us next. Fixer's here as well. Let's smash that like button, people, and let's go. Yes, bro. How you doing?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. I want to get your take. I mean, I've seen a lot of meltdowns from too many Chelsea fans. Like, I'm not saying I've seen it from hundreds, but I've seen a lot of Chelsea accounts. And forget the kind of CFC Trailblaze who is a no. I'm seeing people with actual names, like real people, like Tuchel isn't improving our front line. We're never winning the league like this. I'm so angry, like ranting. Like, do you think why are Chelsea fans jumping the gun so dramatically, Winter Surfer?
I don't know. I don't know. I think sometimes it is just to get a reaction. Their reaction is to get a reaction. I mean, anyone calling for Tuchel out, which I saw like a few people is just they're so impatient, or they don't have any gratitude or anything like that. They do realise that even though this is a brand new situation for him, he's got to now mold this team to learn how to work with a striker. He didn't have that issue last year. It was more fluid, interchangeable. Mount, Werner, and Havertz. He's now got to get the best out of them. He's got to help change their game so they can connect with Lukaku. And I think that's a great problem to have. I think he'd want that type of challenge. And anyone look at our run at the opening games of the season on paper. I think it's the hardest run from any club I can think of in the past number of years. Opening games of the season.
Yeah.
Now comes the real test because we gathered many points. We're like a point behind Liverpool, and on paper we have an easier run than others. And I think now comes more of a test for Lukaku to get these guys concentrating on that as well. You've got the hard fixtures out the way, so to speak. Let's now take advantage of. Look at this weekend, Liverpool, Man City. If they draw and we win, we go top. We could join top with you. Like we'll be top going into an international break.
Mm.
Look what happened last week. And yesterday was disappointing performances. It's not as if Tuchel's like sitting on his laurels. If you actually watched him on the sidelines for both games, he's going absolutely. He's like telling them to move. It's not as if he's like rest. He wants them to play like that. He's got to find out though. This is a true test of his coaching now as well. He's got to find a way to make sure we get the best out of Prime.
Mate, I totally agree. And your point around this weekend, you beat Southampton, and City and Liverpool draw. You go top of the league, and it's such an overreaction. Do you know what I think it is for some people? Like some of it is, I almost feel like there are certain football fans now that are desperate for their team to be in a bad situation so they can kind of get the attention that ranting brings to you. And you can criticize an individual game without going over the top by saying a manager's got to go, hasn't. How has Thomas? I saw a tweet from someone where they basically said he hasn't improved us enough. He took you from a team struggling to make top four to winning the fucking Champions League. It is the epitome of improving you. It's honestly the turnaround I saw from Chelsea fans yesterday was almost as baffling, because I'm telling you what happened, by the way, to Arsenal fans on Sunday. So, something, like, you ever seen like Fantastic Beasts? They had that thing where the rain came down, everyone lost their memory at the end. Or Men in Black, when they shoot that light into your eyes, right? I feel like every Arsenal fan that was at the Emirates on Sunday, they were flashed with something like a mind ray gun, and they forgot the past. Like they literally, it's like Arteta was appointed yesterday. Sometimes football fans go through these like little moments where they want to forget everything else that's happened in the last week, month, 6 months, year, 2 years, and just go, no, I've read a really good theory or I saw a really good tweet, and this is what I'm going to go with now. And it's like, I don't get the logic, mate. But listen, I think you guys are in a really good spot. I don't get the panic. I really appreciate you coming on, having your say, mate, and I'll speak to you soon. Top man, thank you. Top man, thank you. Next on the show, we're going to go to Fixer. We've got young Samuel to come on as well. Make sure that like button's been smashed. Fixer's here. What you saying, mate?
Yo, hey, what's up?
All good, brother. All good. What do you want to say, my friend?
Oh, I just want to talk about Donny real quick.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so with the Donny, I saw the whole reaction and stuff, and I gotta say, I mean, he has every right to be pissed off. Like I was saying the other time, like Solskjaer basically ruined his career, and I don't know, he has to leave Manchester United at this stage, because as long as Solskjaer is there, he's not going to get a chance. And the more he protests, I think the more I don't know, maybe Solskjaer is getting a high out of this. Maybe it's just like, there's one of those ones where, like, the more you protest, the less I'm going to give you, that kind of shit. But and again, what I've noticed is that most times, not all the time, but sometimes, especially the important games where we don't play Donny, we still tend to win. So it's going to be very hard for him to, like, he doesn't have a leg to stand on, because even though he doesn't play, we still win games. And I don't know.
Not defending Ollie overtly,
yeah,
but Donny was angry because it was Fred and it was Lingard that came on. They were both instrumental in the goal.
Right?
Yeah. So
I got to go.
Yeah. You've got to be. This is where I say you can beat Ollie out. You can think he's not a good enough manager, but in terms of that last night, Ollie was spot.
He got it right. He got it right.
Yeah, like, I mean, I would have done it earlier. I wouldn't have left it to
obviously.
the 85th minute, but like they were so instrumental in, and even like I was like looking at tweets. Bruno and Ronaldo, they've got to come off. They've got to come off. They were all instrumental in one way, shape, or form in that goal. So that's where Donny's going to struggle. But I just think for me, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. He's just not in Ollie's thoughts. Like for me, I don't think Ollie's ever going to play him regularly. I just think it's one of those things where we can moan about it. But then I'm also intrigued because I've seen this again 5, 6, 7 times. I'm going to give you this example. Please don't shoot me down. Because I know that Donny van der Beek is a better football player than Delo. But all I've had pumped at me for over 12 months is we shouldn't have let Delo go out on loan. He is twice the player, 3 times the player, a much better baller, better techs, better silks than AWB will ever have. We saw last night why he doesn't play. He's defensively, he was so lost, bruv. He was so lost. He was like a crackhead wandering around the shopping mall. He just was like, he had nowhere to be, nowhere to go. What are you doing? Every single opportunity.
Wan-Bissaka is our guy. Wan-Bissaka is
every single opportunity came down that right-hand side because he was backing off or he got too tight or he didn't stop the cross coming in. It doesn't mean that we weren't structured better elsewhere. But the point is, Man United fans have got this thing. I get this feeling that Donny could come in and we still won't overtly improve. And that's why I'm not that's why I'm not too deep on it, because in the last 9 years of being a Man United fan, there's always been a player on the bench that we say, if we start him, we improve. You know,
Fred was like that once, remember? Fred was like that once.
Yeah. And exactly. So that's why I'm just not too into that debate. For me, it's like, get a new manager that coaches us better, and then we can start having these player debates again. Because I think no matter who plays, it's the same result. We play average football, and then we have our stars win us the games. That's what's going to happen with Donny starting, McTominay starting. Fucking bring Scholes out of retirement. Bring Scholes out of retirement again. Same shit, bruv. Nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. And that's why I get annoyed about the debate. You know, yesterday, all the people, I didn't go for any of them because I'm not doing it anymore on socials. I've learned my lesson, really. But everyone that's been at the low stand, I didn't see one tweet from them criticizing him all game. I'm like, see, I can't stand you people. I can't stand you.
I didn't really notice the whole game, to be honest.
Oh, mate, I noticed him. I noticed how bad he was, bruv. Honestly, he was leaking like a broken fridge. It was just awful.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Oh, bruv. Honestly, he's. By the way, going forward looks really good, and that's the point. Everyone that likes the low is a style over substance person. I've got a problem with people that have style over substance. You are terrible people. Don't think any man who's style over substance. You think you're dating my daughter, bruv? No. Get out of here, Moreno. Get out.
Well, even if it's loaded, even if it's a millionaire, Terry.
Well, then if he's a millionaire, then he's substance first, isn't he? Because he's achieved it.
Okay. Then.
See what I mean? What I mean is, man turns up looking like a millionaire.
Okay.
But he ain't got no money in the bank.
Yeah,
he ain't got a real job. It's all on the credit card, but he looks $1 million. That guy's getting a bitch slap and getting thrown out my house. He ain't got nowhere near my daughter. If one of my sons acts like that, honestly, people's elbow. They're beating it over him, bro. Beating it. Never ever trust anybody that is style over substance. They've got problems in their minds. Listen, great call, mate. Thanks for coming on and having your say. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Next on the show, I'm going to get Reefer LaFunk on the show to have his say. I think I pronounced it right. What you saying, brother?
How you doing, my man? You hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect, bro. Where you calling from?
Sunny Miami, man. I just woke up. I'm out here enjoying me some football terrace like I do.
Love it, brother. That looks nice and warm as well, bro. It's freezing here. But
no shirt on right now. I'm loving my life right now, bro.
Loving it, mate. Looks good. So, what are you here to say, bro?
I just wanted to piggyback a little bit off a couple of the other callers. First of all, I just wanted to address the Chelsea fans. And I think right now we're seeing what Chelsea fans are all about. The way that they're just whining, bro. It's like Tuchel took their team out of the mud, the absolute mud. I personally feel they had no business winning the Champions League last season. To do that is one of the greatest managerial achievements that we've seen in quite some time. To just, come into a squad, new players, new environment, new league, and just boss it up. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's brought their expectations a little higher than they should be. And now reality is kind of setting in and they're realizing, okay, we have a good team. We have a solid foundation, but we're not the best team in the world. We're not going to be coming out here dominating people. So I think it's good that they've been knocked down a notch. But I'm personally a Man United fan, so I'd rather talk on them.
I'd like to get your take on the Donny situation. What's your take on it, mate?
Oh, the Donny situation. I'm kind of in the same camp as you right now, in that Ollie just doesn't favor him. Like we all need to get over that. We know that Ollie will consistently pick players that the fans don't necessarily, want in the team. We can point to McFred because they're the lowest hanging fruit, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Ollie's gonna do what Ollie wants to do, and that's just how he rolls. Even if we bring Donny into this team, I don't think he has the foundation, especially in the midfield, around him to succeed the way we know he can succeed, the way we know a better manager can make him succeed. So I'm just hoping he gets a chance, in a Champions League or in a smaller game, and he kills it.
Bro,
he has no choice. That's really
I'm the same as you. I don't see him in the Prem playing in any kind of double pivot, single pivot type role, personally, anyway. I've always thought of it. I know he can play there, and I know he does it for Holland. But I see him more as an advanced midfielder. The problem is, and again, it's the elephant in the room, he ain't better than Bruno or Pogba. They're the reason that he isn't in the team more regularly. It isn't. I don't actually think it is Fred, Matic, and McTominay. I think
agree.
it's if you actually look at his statistics at Ajax, what I was really intrigued to see him do in the Prem was look at how regularly he touches the ball in the box. It was colossal amount of times. He, for me, was when I saw him tear up Spurs at times in the Champions League in that great run, he was in and around the box. The problem is he's not as good as Donny. He's not as good as Bruno. That's why he's not playing. That's it.
I agree. I definitely agree. Also, the last thing I wanted to touch on is I think the whole Ollie out debate is very much a fan debate. And what I mean by that is the Glazers are not looking at last weekend and thinking, oh, damn, that was such a crap result against Villa. Or, oh, man, we should be beating Young Boys. They're looking at the fact that they recouped shirt sales for Ronaldo already. They're looking at that bottom line. They're looking at record profits after, this COVID downturn. And they're thinking, Ollie's the guy. Ollie's the guy. So I think personally, I'm personally Ollie out to the hill. I've been Ollie out for quite a while, especially, really the last straw for me was going out of the Champions League last season. I thought it should have been the next day he's out. But we need to come to the realization that our owners just don't think like that. They're not football people. So I think we're in for a bumpy ride this season. I'm buzzing off the win yesterday, but anyone who knows football can see it's not sustainable, and it's going to be a lot more of the same. I think we might even steal second again, maybe a Europa League final, but any real progress, I think we all need to just chill out a bit as United fans and buckle up,
I hear what you're saying, bro. Listen, enjoy the rest of your day in Miami, brother, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Top man. It's always nice to get calls from people from different parts of the world. It's I can't even lie, it's exceedingly humbling. Do you know what I mean? Someone's chilling on their porch on a beautiful morning in Miami and they want to chat to me. Ha! It's crazy. I love it. I know we're going to do more callers, but I am out of time. I've got a meeting I've got to go to now. So I'm very sorry, young Samuel and everybody else. We'll get you on later on today or in the week. Bet Victor show at 6 p.m. Lee Gunner's with us. James Redmond may be there. Neeks is on. We've just got to finalize a few names. It's going to be a big show, 6 p.m. on the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again